Good morning, fellow Olympians.
Good morning.
Isn't it great that the Olympics? Yeah, we're here. We're in the Olympics. They're talking about us. We are the spiritual warriors. So, happy Valentine's Day weekend. And may love and peace be with you. We just celebrated Valentine's Day, right? Is it on? A day that's a reminder of love. And love is what the world needs now. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And as we say, the one presence and the one power that created the universes knows our names and knows our essence. And we have our being inside this power. We're not outside of it. So let us all recognize this power. And it is what the world needs now. Being the presence of love. So today, I want to return to the theme that I've been pursuing in my talks this past year, and that is the gifts of spirit. Let's read them aloud. The gifts of spirit are joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, and faithfulness. I started off with love, joy, and today I want to focus on kindness and its partner, generosity, which are the building blocks and aspects of love. These qualities or gifts of love are actually love in work clothes, mostly small and yet greatly important acts of love, acts of kindness. In January, Doug talked about the acts of kindness that he and his partner share, and they were so sweet and so wonderful. And they can be as simple as holding open the door for somebody who's struggling with some packages, or as loving as giving flowers to someone when they least expect it, or taking someone to the doctor's appointment. The simplest acts of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer, said the Mahatma Gandhi. Not that prayer isn't important, it is, but prayer in action are our acts of kindness. So, you know, I like to have our affirmations together as we share it together. So let's say this affirmation together. I look for opportunities to extend kindness and generosity. Do you remember that book called Random Acts of Kindness? Yeah? Well, in 1995, a small group of people at Canary Press came together around the idea that small gestures and simple acts can make a difference in people's lives. And from that one book, all of these other books came about because they had no idea how big this was going to be. And they usually got about 2 or 3 letters a week. Well, they got bag loads of letters from people sharing their own acts of kindness and stories of compassion. So, 30 years later, over 1 million copies have been sold, and it's a worldwide movement now, resulting in National Random Acts of Kindness Week. And the foundation that sponsors it, Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. And well, guess what? Today starts the Random Acts of Kindness Week. It always starts the day after Valentine's Day and goes for a week. But who wants to limit it for a week? It's forever, as you'll see in some of the bookmarks that I made for you. So it can start today, but it can go on forever, because that's the point of it. It sparked an interest in performing simple, unexpected good deeds, kindnesses, and creating unexpected beauty like art and joy for others, aiming to create a more positive world through individual actions. So, Random Acts of Kindness Week is now an annual event encouraging people worldwide to perform small, kind gestures to make the world more positive, with the goals of making kindness a habit, not just a one-day thing, not just a week thing, but a habit in workplaces and communities, in participating in actions, simple actions, such as complimenting others, paying for someone's coffee, or leaving uplifting notes, and for this attitude to go on forward. So let's affirm again, I look for opportunities to extend kindness and generosity. Now, even better, this Random Acts of Kindness Foundation established a school for kindness. How many of you knew that one? Yeah, I didn't know about it either, but they've got wonderful YouTube channel with lots of projects on there, and they promote, and this is the part I'm excited about, they promote a curriculum for teaching children about kindness and how to incorporate kindness into their lives. Everything from writing a letter to someone to planting a tree. It's very heartwarming. There's so many examples on that in their YouTube channel. And there are suggestions that apply not just to children, but to all of us, like listening intently to one another. That's a great gift we can give to each other. And complimenting somebody. And the emphasis and awareness of purposely extending kindness as a practice started when just 3 people sat around and came up with this idea of getting a book about kindness. Now, through the School of Kindness, 90,000 children each year go through this curriculum and are taught skills of compassion and understanding. The workshops help the children realize the power of their actions, develop empathy and tolerance, and improve self-awareness. When kindness is practiced and rewarded in schools, the schools become a stronger, supportive communities. Here's some of the encouraging statistics that the School of Kindness has collected following this curriculum. Say 90% of the teachers said that they were more confident of talking to children about how to deal with unkind people, with bullies. 80% of the teachers said children's relationships with friends and classmates improved. 94% of teachers said children were more thoughtful. And best of all, 100% of the schools surveyed said that children benefited from the kindness workshops. Isn't that amazing? The real progress is in creating a more benevolent world where loving kindness is seen as a positive thing and not a weakness. And fear doesn't rule the daily lives of children and adults. Imagine that children learn to respond to their hurts not by bullying other children, but with words of kindness, a skill. The reason this is so important to all of us is that children who are schoolyard bullies grow up to be workplace bullies. Maybe not physically, but with anger, subterfuge, psychic violence, creating toxic work environments in society, in schools, hospitals, politics, and perpetuating the destruction of their own families. They can trigger addictions and a whole host of stressful and deadly situations. I'm sure you know that the profiles of many of the school shooters and others who take lives of others include experiences of being bullied. So imagine and support the idea that if patterns could be transformed into skills of kindness, then all parts of society would be affected by deceptively simple acts of kindness and compassion. These are all the acts of love, sweet love, that the world needs now. One person at a time, one act at a time. I love this quote by Maya Angelou. Everywhere you go, leave a glitter trail of kindness behind you. Throw kindness like confetti. Isn't that wonderful? And if you needed more reasons, did you know that kindness improves your mental and physical well-being? Finally, they're doing research on this, and the University of California is proving, quote, these are their words, engaging in the acts of kindness enhances both mental and physical health. Our brains are wired for kindness, not war, kindness. Performing kind deeds releases feel-good hormones such as oxytocin and serotonin, which help reduce stress and increase happiness. Regularly practicing kindness can lead to lower blood pressure, improve mental health, and increase lifespan. By making kindness the norm, we not only uplift others, but promote our own well-being. End of quote. That's pretty amazing from an educational institution to have those kinds of results. So let's affirm together. I look for opportunities to extend kindness and generosity. Of course, we already knew that research information at our gut level. At our metaphysical level, we know that this is true because we are the presence of love, which is life-giving, and it includes all of those qualities that they spoke about, and more. So here's another quote from the foundation. Witnessing or experiencing kindness inspires others to pay it forward. It's catchy. It's contagious, creating a chain of positivity that spreads far beyond the initial act. This ripple effect has the power, folks, to influence entire communities and even spark systemic change. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where kindness has turned things around, but I certainly have in workplaces, and it's made a big difference in turnover and in the atmosphere of the whole workplace. And I certainly feel very blessed to have been the recipient of many acts of kindness in my life. I had parents, especially my mother, who modeled kindness every day. I've had meals paid for in restaurants and flowers sent to me and all kinds of thank you cards, free books, artwork, offers of household chores, and phone calls when I wasn't feeling well. Mentors who guided me along the way. And best of all, I'm gifted with a husband who is very kind, listens to me and others, and performs acts of kindness quietly and humbly. I'm sure you know people like that. Each of these goes into my heart's gratitude list. Every time we get together after Sunday service and share food, we are performing acts of kindness and generosity. So I'd like to take a short time to share some ideas and some of your experiences. What acts of kindness that you received stands out in your mind? Or what acts of kindness did you perform that was a stretch for you? And this is the time to share, so think about that. What stands out in your mind as having received something really special?
I just shared this with somebody else, but on my 62nd birthday, I had read about a woman who did this, and so I decided I'd try it. And it was also Crab Fest downtown Port Angeles. And I went to the bank and I got 62 $1 bills. And I stood on the street by the fountain and I gave $2 away to each person that would take them with the stipulation that they had to give one away. And it was the most amazing thing for me. And people were astonished at first and went, what's the catch? And I said, there's no catch. This is what you do. But that's the only thing you have to do is pass that dollar on. And I had people come back by and tell me what fun they had. It was amazing.
Who else would like to share? Glenn.
When I was 18, I was hitchhiking from the Spanish-French border up into Spain, or up into France, and I didn't have nothing. I was I didn't have means, let's put it that way. One guy picked me up, drove me for about 70 miles, then bought me a train ticket for another 100 miles. And I'm sure this was in 1971, so 26 years after the end of World War II. This guy was old enough to have been through the war, and he explained to me that, he says, people have done stuff for me and I appreciated it so much, so this is my opportunity to do something for somebody else.
Wow.
So it was, that was a cool act of kindness that I still remember well.
Isn't that amazing? Just passing it on. That's the idea. Passing it on. What else? Who else would like to share? Oh, Prem Daya.
So I had this really good friend that I hadn't seen for years and not even been in contact with in Boise. And this was a couple of years ago now, I don't know. And all of a sudden he sent me $500. And I totally needed it because I didn't have the rent for that month. And out of the blues, and it was his kindness, in a sense, returning some presumed kindness from me, something that had blessed his life, and alhamdulillah. And so that was a receiving of kindness, and it was huge. And the kindness just from the beneficence of the universe. I got another $300 from somebody I'd forgotten, still owed me half of their money for their Reiki training, and that had been 20 years ago. And it just, how do I send it to you?
Yeah.
And so I've been the recipient of a lot of beneficence.
It's almost magical how synchronistic the universe is, because the universe is love, and it will slip in every chance it gets to support us, to make us feel that we are that essence of love. One more. Anyone else would like to share about kindness? Melinda?
Like Premdaya was saying, I too am the recipient of many gifts of generosity. Currently, I am receiving gifts of generosity from people that are accepting me, loving me, and showing me that I am worthy. One particular situation stands out most to me, though, I'll make it quick, is I was traveling with 2 young children and a puppy through the mountains, and my car overheated in a construction area. So there was no vehicles coming through except for following a lead car. I had to wait for the next round of lead car to come through. They saw me and said they would send somebody up. Fortunately, someone in the line pulled off, came down and assisted me by going down to the creek, getting water, bringing it up, filling my car up, handed me $20, his address, and said, "Pay it forward, blessings and safe travels."
Beautiful.
That has stayed with me for all these days.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how it stays with us all the time? You wanted to, was it?
I was reading ahead only.
Go ahead.
Well, I know that on the second question is the one that popped in for me. There was a time in my life where I was in a transition professionally and, well, in all ways. And at that time, I had been wearing suits, ties, wingtips, button-downs, the whole thing, and that changed. And my closet was still full of these nice suits and stuff. So I got this idea that there's a halfway house for folks that are just coming out of prison and getting back into society, looking for jobs. So I went down and I donated all those clothes so they would have something nice to go to interviews with.
Perfect.
So I felt good.
Yeah, and doesn't that make you feel good? Lightens you up and yet blesses someone else.
And it gave me room in my closet for something else.
Exactly. You have to make room for the good to come in. And Susan certainly knows that. And Angel, in terms of taking in people's stuff, that blesses the next generation that will use them. Okay, go ahead, Clancy.
I was a speech and language therapist in California working with kids. And where I met with children was at the back of the library. And I got acquainted then with a librarian as I was coming and going. And one day we were chatting after school, and she said, "I think you'd enjoy meeting Karen." And I said, "Who's Karen?" She said, "Don't worry about it. Here's her phone number." So I met Karen, and she had a couple of kids. She also was raising them. Their father had gone on in another direction. And so through Karen, I met, she knew about Reverend Peggy Bassett. She said, "Come to church with me." I said, "I don't do church anymore." She said, "I think you'll be surprised. This lady, 6'2" in her stocking feet, with a stutter, and when she delivered a message, you knew you had a message. And I was hooked. So then I took classes and so on, and ultimately became a counselor, practitioner, and then later became a minister. And I was a minister for a number of years until, and I still, there are ways that we minister without being officials anymore. But that kindness was, "I think you'd like to meet Karen."
Yeah. It can be something quite so simple, and it can change our lives, the whole direction of our lives, by just speaking out and feeling and listening to when you get that little voice that said, "Go talk to Karen." Tell this person that they need to meet so-and-so. And you think, where'd that come from? Trust it, because that's the divine speaking to you that says, "You are my ears and my hands and my heart. Go out there and do it." So those are things that may seem small, and yet they are powerful. Thank you so much,
So it's
Diane.
kind of like you're saying that kindness can be trusting yourself as to what you're trusting yourself.
Exactly.
And saying, "I don't know why I'm saying this, but you're being kind to be honest and share that."
Exactly.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because that's the kindness that's coming from Spirit. That's the love that's flowing through you. And if you listen and take advantage of that, then that's the next step. I just wanted to share one other example of kindness. And this came from my daughter when she was maybe 5 or 6 years old. And we had a birthday party for her in which her younger cousin, two years younger, was also there. And when my daughter blew out her birthday candles, the other little girl started crying. And so my daughter asked her, turned to her and said, why are you crying? And she says, "I want to blow out the candle." So my daughter just turned to me and she said, "Mom, can we have her blow out the candles?" So we lit up the candles again, and we sang happy birthday, and she got to blow out the candles. And then all the other 8 children there, they all wanted the same thing. So I went through 3 sets of candles with them all singing happy birthday to each other and enjoying it. I mean, that was the highlight of the whole party. And I thought, I would have never thought of that, but she did. She just saw her cousins being so excited about the candles that she wanted to do it. So she wanted her to do it. So, children have this instinct for kindness and sharing and compassion for each other. And we can tune into that child within us and wonder, what compassionate thing could I do right now? So, anyway, I wanted to just talk about performing acts of kindness isn't just a nice thing to do, but it's a vital part of who we are as each other's brothers and sisters in our oneness. And remember Jesus' directive, whatsoever you do to the least of my brethren, you do unto me. This master of love didn't just mean himself, but the Christ self of each of us. It is the core expression of our oneness and our kinship. It inspires acts of charity, love, social justice, helping others, especially the forgotten. And thank you, Susan, for all you do for the forgotten in our society. Leo Buscaglia, who used to teach a course in love at the University of California, said, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest amount of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around, as you have already given examples of. And I know that each of you is a very kind person, as evidenced by just our food drive that we had here in December, and had a whole mountain full of food. And I'm so grateful to be part of this Unity family that is so generous. And this is Acts of Kindness Week. And then there's Acts of Kindness Day, which is the 17th. So please contemplate and stretch your kindness. Do that which you have been meaning to do. Make that phone call to a friend you haven't heard from in a while. Take food offerings to the little pantries in town. Volunteer at an organization you resonate with. There is so much to be done for each other. Remember, there's no such small thing as a small act of kindness. Each act ripples with no logical end. And my sharing of those bookmarks, and if you haven't opened your envelope, please do so now. There are 2 bookmarks in there, and they all relate to what I've been talking about today. And one is for you to keep, and one is for you to give away. And you need to give it in person, if at all possible, to someone who you think might enjoy it. It could be a bookmark, it could be something you put on your refrigerator with a magnet, something you put on your mirror to remind you of this talk, of this act of kindness. And make it deliberate. Make it something that is a stretch for you. Maybe it's someone that you haven't talked to for a long time and you're not sure where they are in their life. Hand it to them and say, this is a gift from my heart. So make your actions deliberate during this special week, and then let them become a habit that brings love and joy to both you and those who receive it. Kindness and generosity are truly expressions of love, and that is our true nature and all that we desire to express. And when we live from love, we forget that we are performing acts of kindness. And you just embody kindness. You forget that this is a kindness. That's just who you are. That's what you do in all circumstances. Remember, we are God's hands, eyes, ears, heart, and we use them to love each other. So, Joshua speaks about kindness as, quote, a great desire to know love, unconditional, unlimited love, to come home again by extending and experiencing love. It is the grandest of gifts to give of yourself, the self with a capital S. And in giving, guess what happens? You find yourself. You experience yourself. As you allow the heart to open, to love freely, caring, understanding, asking only to be companion upon the path, as you allow the shutters of your heart to be flung wide open, you find yourself and you experience the love that you have been searching for. Unquote. The true purpose of kindness is to bring unconditional love, that sweet love that they sang about that we feel, known also as heaven on earth, to experience in this life. It is the sweet balm to counter the worry, the fear, the unhappiness that have been focused in this illusion of separation from each other and God. Acts of kindness, folks, build trust, build relationships, bring joy, and build hope of peace with one another. So in this world where you can be anything, be kind. And let's affirm together. I look for opportunities to extend kindness and generosity. I know that the deeper level of truth is that whatever we do for another, we are really giving and doing for ourselves in the oneness that we are. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. May peace prevail on earth. So be it. Well, let's take a few minutes to do a meditation on what we have hopefully absorbed today. So take a few deep breaths and take this message of gentle kindness into your heart. Let your breath bring deep peace and trust that you are greatly loved and that you can share that love with your brothers and sisters by daily acts of loving kindness. Promise yourself that you are willing to do just one act of kindness each day. That's a minimum. And at the end of the year, you will have touched 365 lives. Bringing a touch of heaven to earth. Breathe peace. Breathe love. Breathe loving kindness. Feel the power of love that rests in your heart. And be the emissary of God's love right here and right now. So be it.